Welcome to this tutorial on the creation of strategies, backtesting and optimization using Agility Trader version 2 companion program. This is a lot easier way to manage your expert advisors than using the expert advisor input box when you attach an expert advisor to a chart within Trader2. Just a short note regarding the data. The data source is tick data. It has been converted to each of the 7 timeframes that Agility Trader uses, and because it is tick data, the stop loss is determined before the take profit. Now that will give us a very pessimistic view, but it is a valid view of all your trades that are taking place. A little bit hard to compare it with MetaTrader 4 because MetaTrader 4 does attempt to interpolate 1 minute data to give you trading results. I have the program already open. Just a few notes on this screen presentation. I did cover a lot of it in the introduction to Agility Trader 2, so I'll just spend more time this particular video with the strategy and backtesting and optimization. When the program opens, we have a preset strategy already loaded, and that is a very simple RSI strategy. And if you look at this screen, over on the center and left-hand columns, we have the management parameters, and the right column represents the conditions. Now, only one condition at a time is shown, but you do have a summary of your conditions over in the list column there. So in this particular situation, we're using starting equity of 10,000. The very first entry we see is the condition number 1 of the buy entries, and the order type is a market buy. And we can see here that the RSI is the type of scenario that we're using. Parameter 1 represents the 14 bars for the calculation of the RSI, and we're asking it to look at crossing a nominated value of 30. Now, if we click on any of these parameters, you will see the actual parameters showing. I'll click on the market sell. There's only one condition active, and you set them to active or inactive using that particular setting there. In this situation, we have it crossing below a nominated value of 70. So there's our summary there. Once again, if you press any particular setting, it will show within this condition box. So there's up to a total of 20 conditions, as I mentioned in the previous video. The sell entry has 5 conditions. The sell exit has 5 conditions, buy entry 5, and buy exit 5 conditions. So a total of 20 conditions overall. Let's just go ahead and as the program is opened with this strategy, we'll just perform a back test. Now it reads the data table from my server. It happens almost instantaneously. A little bit slower if you're using 1 minute data, but as I said, the data is tick data and it's converted to the various time frames being used. So when you're using this program, everybody will be referring to the same set of data, so we won't have the confusion that I did have originally with Trader's Gift, where everybody was using different data and it was extremely hard to line up scenarios. So here's the result on this one. I won't dwell too much on this particular page because we did deal with it yesterday, but suffice to say that the result on this particular scenario is a $47 loss, and there's the various graphs with the information. Don't forget, you can show the hour of the day by clicking on that button down in the bottom right rather than the day of the week. Let's go back to the strategies again. I want to talk about a few of these buttons here, which I didn't particularly cover in detail yesterday. Number 1 was the reset all parameters. Now if you press that button, it gets rid of all your conditions and you're starting with a clean slate in terms of creating a strategy. So if I click that, all the conditions disappear. A couple are preset. The stop loss value of 75, take profit value of 75. You can change these to whatever you desire if you wish to do so. The other button that I want to mention is this restart button. If you click on that particular button, the program will restart and it will read in the original preset strategy of the RSI. So that covers those two buttons. Let's just have a look at these conditions themselves. There are 4 different types of entry for trade type. There's 5, 6 different, actually 7 different order types. With the buys, of course, you'll have a market buy, a limit buy, or a stop buy. You can even put a straddle in there and it will handle that scenario. Condition, up to 5 conditions as I mentioned. Active, either yes or no. The joins, now the joins become more important for conditions 2 to 5 because they join with condition 1. And just a couple of these conditions here, the and the ors with the open and closed brackets. You will need those in a situation where you've got condition number 1 combined with conditions 2 and 3, for instance, but conditions 2 or 3 are or. So in other words, you've got condition 1 being satisfied and conditions 2 or 3 being satisfied. You'd need to join conditions 2 with that particular scenario and condition 3 with the closing scenario. Time frame normally defaults to chart. Now just a note on the companion program. Whilst within agility trading you do have the ability to combine time frames, within the companion program you can only look at one time frame at a time, but there is a workaround with this. It simply is if you're using, for instance, say 1 hour data and you want to check a 4-hour scenario, whatever you're using for your 4-hour scenario, just multiply the settings by 4 and place them in the 1 hour time frame. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. For instance, if you wanted to check, say, an RSI condition in a 4-hour time frame, instead of using an RSI of 14 bars, use an RSI in the 1 hour time frame of 56 bars. It will give you the same result. So the within X bars setting here is the look back. You can look at conditions which being satisfied not only within the last bar, which is a default of 1, but look back any number of bars and it will make those calculations. The type of condition, of course, we've got about 30 plus conditions. This defaulted to RSI, but you can start with open, high, lowest, close, and so on, right down to the final conditions, which are these custom indicators. I will cover the custom indicators in a different video, so we won't go into too much discussion with these now. Now, the crosses above is the default value in this preset condition, but you can use greater than, less than, crosses above, crosses below, equal to and not equal to. So we're using crosses above in this situation. So in summary, this scenario is simply an RSI 14 moving up through the 30 level as the buy condition, and the sell condition is the RSI crossing below the 70 level. Now at this stage we have done a back test. It didn't produce a very good result, but what we're going to do this particular time is, rather than back test, we'll do an optimize and have a look at these items all being optimized. So when we press the optimize button, the optimize takes a bit longer because it's cycling through all the permutations. Now there is a very intelligent calculation involved here. It's not simply going through every scenario of 1 to 20 bars for the bar calculations and 1 to 100 for the take profit as an example. It has having a very intelligent look at these and determining the best results. Now here's the result on this particular one. If we look at it, we've now got $1,590 profit. Now all the parameters that have been arrived at are listed either up here, these are your management parameters, or down here, these are the condition parameters. So we can see in this particular scenario we've got an RSI of 12 for the buy scenario, RSI of 13 for the sell scenario, 29 rather than 30 for the move up, 69 rather than 70 for the move down, and we've got different stop loss and take profit values. So if we go back into the strategies tab, these best scenario parameters are automatically pre-filled in your settings here, and yet they'll also be pre-filled here as well. So if we were to click on this particular one here, we've got an RSI 13 crossing below a nominated value of 69. So once again, when you click on each of these, you bring in the particular settings that are applicable. So this particular one here will bring in the sell entry settings. And there's your stop loss and take profit changed. Now I wanted to cover another scenario for you, and what I'm going to do is cover a scenario where we're using the wager increase multiple. So I'm going to reset or restart the program so that we've got the basic parameters back again. And this time I'm going to click on the optimize box. Now the wager increase multiple, if you've been following the thread, you should know all about it. But basically what wager increase multiple does is that it increases the size of the wager after a successive loss. There's a preset limit by design of 20% of your equity, and I would suggest a wager increase multiple of no greater than 2. Some of the optimizations will actually go beyond 2 simply because there are very few losing trades. Now let's go ahead this time with the optimize button ticked, performing an optimize. Now the return from memory from the previous one was around about 1300. So at this stage it's roughly similar to the previous one, but we haven't finished the optimization yet, so we'll just see what this comes up with. You can see now that it's virtually doubled the result by being prepared to increase the value of your wager with losing trades. You've all heard of Martindale, where you continue to increase wagers with losing trades, but this is a little bit different to casino. We're not doubling up after each trade, and we have got a preset limit. A little bit more volatility with this type of trade. You can see that the wager increases has come to 2.6, and you can see as a result of that we've gone from the original concept of a minus $47 loss up to 2,623 in profit. So if we go back to our strategies tab, you can see now that the wager increase multiple has gone out to 2.64. We'll just change that to 2.6, and we'll just simply do a back test using the optimized conditions and just see what we end up with. It drops it down to 2,000. It's not a significant decrease in return, but you can see it has made the curve a little bit less volatile. So obviously the more you're increasing your losing wages, the more volatility you can expect. And once again, we've got wins of 3,374, losses of 1,290. So it's quite a good scenario. Shorts are a little bit more effective than longs, and we can look at some of these wages. Some of the wins are quite significant simply because we've had a couple of losses there, therefore it's a high wager. This one here, not quite as high, so you can see the relativity of the winning trades versus the losing trades down there. I'm going to go back to the strategies tab, and I'm going to do something else. We'll reload our beginning program, our beginning strategy I should say, and we're going to introduce a second set of conditions. And what we're going to do this time is I'm going to tell it that I don't want to trade Mondays and Tuesdays. I just want to trade from Wednesdays onwards. So this will be a good exercise for adding new conditions. Now, if we change this one here from condition 1 to condition 2, it will retain the previous setting. So it's automatically active, but we're now looking at condition 2, and we're going to look at the trade day. So what I'm going to say here is we're going to bring in a time condition. I'm selecting time. We don't need any parameters for the time condition. And what we're going to do here is we're going to use a comparison of greater than and we're going to use a nominated value. Now, parameter 1 is for days, parameter 2 is for hours, and parameter 3 is for minutes. So in this situation, we don't want to trade on Mondays and Tuesdays, but we do want to trade Wednesdays onwards. So the start of the week is a Sunday, so this will have to have a greater than a nominated value of 3. So that should open our trades on Wednesdays onwards. Now, don't forget, when you change a condition, any condition, you must click on the Apply Condition button. So you can see now that we have this second condition for the buy entry, which is a condition which needs to be satisfied, that trades are only open if the day of the week is greater than 3, and 3 being a Tuesday, so it's going to open for Wednesdays onwards. What we need to do is go to and add the same entry to the sell entry condition. So in this particular situation, we're going to change that to a sell entry. We're going to change that to a market sell. And of course, we're on condition 2. Now, all we need to do here is do nothing, because we actually have the same condition for the buy for the sell. So if we click on Apply Condition, you can see that because it's a sell entry and it's condition 2 in sell entries, it's now been added down to the list of sell conditions. So we have the same condition for both buy and sells, and that is don't open a trade before Wednesdays. So there's the summary there. Now, because the conditions are applied, we can now run a back test. Now, as I said, this is just a standard. It did run at a loss previously, probably will still run at a loss, but we'll have a look at it anyway. So we'll click on back test. Now you can notice here that the day of the week there are no trades open on Mondays and Tuesdays, simply because we added that extra condition. So that's what we talk about when using a day of week condition. If we go back to strategies now, I'm just going to change these conditions. We'll just put an hour of the day strategy. So in this situation, I've highlighted the second strategy in the buy entries, and I'm going to get rid of the 3 there, and we'll say no trades before 11 o'clock in the morning. So we'll put in there 10. So that means that if I apply that conditions, we're not going to get any trades open before 11 o'clock in the morning, because we're on the hourly chart. And we'll click on this one here, and I'm going to change that to 0 and that one to 10. Apply the condition. Let's just have a quick look at these. So we can see here that we've now just left out the day of the week, but we've applied an hour of the day condition. So with those in place, we'll rerun a back test. And if we click on hour of day in this situation, you can see that there have been no trades open before 11 o'clock in the morning. So that's adding an extra condition to the RSI strategy. If we go back to this tab here, I have the upgrade installed here. So in this situation, if you wanted to write that as a set file, you click on this button here, and we'll just select, I've got one already set, but we'll set this one. We'll click on that, and I'll set it RSI, and we'll add time-based. So that now is a strategy. We haven't optimized it, but I've just showed you how to write that set file. So if we do a reset of all parameters, and we read that set file by clicking on Read Set File, select that particular parameter, RSI time-based set, you can see that the parameter has been read in. So there's the parameters that we set previously. Now there's been a fair amount covered in this video, so I would urge you when you're looking at it to remember the pause and start buttons, because you can always pause, rewind with the YouTube videos, and go back and recover a previous section of the video. So don't forget that feature when you're viewing this video. I realise it's been a little bit long-winded, but hopefully now you understand a little bit more about creating strategies. I did make reference in the thread that I was probably going to surprise a few of you today with this, and there hasn't been any surprises up to this stage, but the surprise that I'm going to spring on you is that technical indicators are certainly not the be-all and end-all of making profit with trading, and I want you to really consider putting more emphasis on these settings here, using the wager increase multiple, using time of day or hour of or day of week, and put less emphasis on these. You might notice that throughout my thread I've always pushed the RSI scenario. There are a couple of others that I could suggest that you should push or promote, and one of them is weighted moving average. Now, weighted moving average is quite different to simple moving average, where a simple moving average just gives you an average over a period of bars. A weighted moving average applies more weight to the recent bars, and it puts on more weight than the exponential moving average. Now, for those of you who have looked into the non-lag dot thread, you'll notice that that is basically, as its name implies, it attempts to put a minimum amount of lag into the technical indicators. Weighted moving average is very, very similar to non-lag dot. So when you're using technical indicators, don't go for heaps of technical indicators. Stick with the basics and put more emphasis into trading with the money management techniques that you have here, and using just very, very simple indicators. And I can honestly tell you, in my 20 years plus of trading, I've been most profitable when I put less emphasis on the technical indicators. You know, I know a lot of you are looking at Agility Trader to create quite fancy sets of parameters because you've looked at other scenarios and the various other threads. But my advice is forget about great long combinations of technicals. Concentrate more on the fundamentals. Be very, very aware of news releases. Try and factor in avoiding news releases by using that time parameter which we demonstrated previously. Look, thanks for your participation, and if you have any queries, raise them on the thread. I do answer all queries, so I look forward to talking to you again in the next video.